seeing some dark hands on my white thighs is like fucking awesome. I'm always like, oh my God, it's so hot.
Hot topic here. What are your thoughts on yellow fever? Because we kind of talked about fetishizing a little bit.
I mean, for me, it's just everyone is like their own person. So, I mean, yellow fever is like, yeah, maybe you like Asian men, but I don't know. I feel like it's just a term, but it might actually be like just a way for people to what is the word I'm looking for? Make it a derogatory thing. If someone's like, "Oh, you have yellow fever," like sometimes you can joke about it, like with Asian men, but like if you start going to other people, they're like, "Oh, you have yellow fever," like it's a bad thing.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that term is necessarily like a great term to have simply because of that. But it is a way for people to understand that, yeah, you like Asian men, but it really just depends who you're talking to as to how it's used. Because I think it can be like, okay, this is the way I'm communicating to like a good friend that I'm really into Asians. Or this can be a way that someone is saying like, oh, you're into Asians, like, ew, you have yellow fever, kind of thing.
Ah, yeah, I also joke with some friends sometimes. Oh yeah, I have yellow fever. I'm not meaning, God damn it, I have yellow fever. I gotta get rid of it. I'm just, yeah, I like Asian men. I'm not putting any negative feeling into it, but everything can be an insult if you put bad feelings into it. So that's one of the downside of human language, any human language.
Can Asian males be kinky, or are they
Yeah.
just or are they just vanilla? Are they just straight up vanilla?
There's a random variety, just like in every race. Yeah, I've definitely been with some kinky as fuck Asian males, and it's hot as fuck. Like seriously. Um, like Mozzy was saying, like, hey, just because that guy was shorter than her doesn't mean that he couldn't put his dom on, and she had a great time. So, I mean, it's the same thing for me. You get all flavors. If you get vanilla and you get kink, it's like everything, you just have to find out what's compatible with you.
In
But
my case, to be honest, it's mostly about inexperience. Like, you cannot be super kinky if you don't have much experience. First, you gotta get some experience that you gotta try out stuff and think about what you enjoy. In my case, yeah, of course, yeah, but I mean, yeah, I've been very sexual from the beginning, but I wasn't super kinky at the beginning. I was just like trying to find out what I like. I got informed online a lot, but at least in person, you gotta try out things.
Mhm.
And in my case, yeah, I've had a lot of experiences with guys who were vanilla or even a bit submissive, but I think it was just mainly because they were inexperienced, or maybe because I was their first white girl. They literally said that, oh yeah, you're my first white girl and stuff like that. So they were a bit self-conscious. They didn't know how to behave. They felt a little shy, so they end up not pulling out their full potential.
No pun intended. I would say, like, some Asian males feel that they can't be dominant because of they aren't masculine. I don't know if you're like heard about that or like know about it, but like some Asian males out there that believe, oh, just because I'm not masculine, I can just being vanilla.
I actually heard something completely different like 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
There was like a thread that like men actually enjoyed being submissive in the bedroom when a woman was more dominant
Yes.
because they didn't have to be the dominant force. And I think in culture, a lot of times men have to be the dominant force, or in their family, they have to be the leader and the caretaker of their family. And to be submissive actually is a relief from having to be the dominant one all the time. which I agree with because I'm dominant all the time as well. So for me, it's also a relief to get to be submissive. On those rare occasions that I get to be submissive.
Hmm.
So I think it really depends on the person how they see that. I think that the way that you find freedom is very personal to each person. So someone might find freedom in being submissive, someone might find freedom in having control. And I think a lot of times it might have to do with the dichotomy of what their life is. If you have a lot of control of your life, then maybe you don't want to have control when you're becoming an animal sexually. Versus if you don't have a lot of control of your life, then you might want to control sexually. So I think that it doesn't really matter if you're Asian or not. I think it's just the personal preference as far as if someone wants to be like that or not. And some people might just want straight up vanilla sex, and that's fine too, because there's lots of people that only want straight up vanilla sex.
Funny enough, like when you said Asian men feel like they can be kinky, like first thing that popped into my head, shibari, kimbaku, like some of the kinky, like some of the pillars of the kink community, and they come from Asian culture, from Japanese culture. So
Yeah.
um it's not about, like, you can be kinky if you want to, you can be vanilla if you want to. It depends on your needs, depends on your feelings, on what you feel like you need. um like in my case, I've never been very dominant in my life, just being loud to make myself seen, because I was the invisible one many times. And I guess my first sexual experiences influenced me a bit too. And I ended up being a sub switch. Because even as a sub, there's always a little voice in the back of my head that says, don't give up 100% of the control. So I cannot be 100% sub. I have a downside too. I don't feel like I only need to be dom when I'm with an Asian guy. It really depends on the feel that the specific guy in that moment is giving me. Sometimes they give me dom vibes and I'm on my knees begging for mercy. Other times I feel like the mummy of the situation. To be honest, the mummy side always comes up with the insecure ones, also because it's a matter of reassuring them that everything's okay, they're okay, they don't need to be shy, they don't need to be sorry if something happens, stuff like that. But yeah, like the kink side is totally not a race thing. You can be kinky and be of any race.
So what makes you physically or sexually attracted to an Asian male?
Before, I like dark hair, I like dark eyes, and I like darker skin. And I'm super pale, so like seeing some dark hands on my white thighs is like fucking awesome. I'm always like, oh my god, it's so hot. Or like when they have a dark penis and I have like my pink vagina and like you see this dark penis like entering you, it's like, that is just so delicious. I don't know what it is, but I freaking love it. Okay. I also I do like the fact that Asian men have less body hair as well. It makes it easier to kiss them everywhere without getting a mouthful of hair. And like, I don't know, I find their features attractive. Um, Usually they have like fuller lips and like they're just so kissable, You're just like, give me those lips.
See, it's not
Um,
only just guys that think towards girls giving them lips. Females will think about that to guys as well.
Yeah, yeah, they totally do. If they have like a little round butt, oh my god, it's so cute. Like I love a little round butt on a man. I'm like, oh my god, I just like squeeze it. I want to spank it. I just want to get your teeth on it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just like it's so cute.
I don't know what you mean, but I get it.
Mozzy knows what I mean.
Hey,
But like I love like thick dark hair to like grab, it's like hot as fuck. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I like the narrower hips. You know, like a body frame is variant, but in Asian males they have narrower hips. So it's actually easier to wrap your legs around them for a prolonged period of time because you don't have to have your legs open as wide. You don't get as tired. So for me, that's like a win-win because I'm like I can have sex for longer without getting fatigued. Um, so I mean, those are characteristics I like of them from a physical standpoint. Um, you know, like all Asians have different eye shapes. I find that, you know, like the more traditional sort of Asian eyes, I do like them because, like, I swear to God, when they look at you with like desire, and their eyes have like they take on like this extra sultry appearance, and they look at you like they freaking own you, and it's like, oh my God, like I need a fan right now. Like seriously, like it's really
There you
freaking
go.
hot. Like that's something that I like. You know, that's just from a physical aspect. Obviously, the brain and personality is a whole other gambit. But I mean, I think you were just asking about like sexual,
Yes.
physical things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, like taste and smell is important for me. And because I don't think I share a lot of genetic similarities with Asian men, it makes me more attracted to them because from a genetic evolutionary standpoint, I would have healthier offspring with them because we don't share the same genes. So it makes me more attractive to them than, let's say, some really pale white guy.
You want that dark skin creeping up on you.
I do. They look rough skin, my creamy thighs.
That was fantastic. How about you, Mozzie?
Um, uh, we do agree on the hair. Like Asian full thick hair are fucking beautiful. Love to grab them, love to give them head scratches. It's all good. About skin color, I actually like the Vietnamese guy was much darker than me, and I'm also pale AF, so the color contrast was really very aesthetically pleasing to look at. But I do also enjoy the fair skinned ones. About smell, yeah, I'm very sensitive to smell, and other than like going into the genetic of being attractive to someone with a drastically different genetic makeup than you, I justify it by saying majority of Asian people have a genetic mutation that makes them less smelly. Literally, like they produce less smelly sweat. So like they smell less. They don't smell bad. Like I've literally licked armpits, sweaty armpits after the whole thing, and they didn't smell, so I love that. About body shape, to be honest, I don't have much preference. I've been with thicker, thinner, taller, short. I don't care much. My main focus is the face. If I'm attracted by the face, the rest can go on naturally. I do enjoy the lack of body hair, as I said earlier. The reason is the same as Pebot say: easier to kiss and lick all over. Um, but yeah, I don't have much preference on the body shape actually.
Now regarding like smell, because you
And
both brought up like smell, not just like natural body odor, but would you prefer it if a guy smelled good, like wearing,
yeah.
you know, cologne or nice perfume?
I think initially I like to smell them and taste them because everyone has a different smell when they sweat, even though it's not BO, like you still have oils in your body, so everyone has a particular sort of smell to them. And they have a different taste to them as well. I don't know if Mozzy's come in contact with this, but like if let's say you're giving a man some oral sex and you taste his pre cum and you taste his semen, um, men have different tastes. Like some of them you like, some of them are okay, and some of them you dislike. So smell and taste super important in that respect. But I mean, I like to know if I'm attracted to their natural scent. And then I do like it when, men do wear like, cologne or something just to like be a little extra, I guess this is what it is. Um, but like it's not something I want all the time because like the actual smell and taste of my partner is what I want because that's what's going to get me going versus like a generic smell that you can smell on anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not particular fan of male bodily fluids. I was mostly talking about the taste and the smell of the skin. Like I'm not
Yeah,
biting the skin
I
off, but
know,
like
they also taste
licking.
too.
Like with some guys, I could literally just keep my head in the neck of their neck and smell and lick these areas for hours because they smelled and tasted so goddamn good. And yeah, I do agree. I like to know what they smell like initially, and then some cologne is just an added pizzazz. Like I follow on TikTok a guy who right now makes a lot of videos about like suggesting colognes for guys in different situations. It's just like it signifies that he takes care of himself so that he has a good hygiene, and so clean smells nice, yay. But the true body scent and taste is also important, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, if you're licking certain areas while they're sweaty, you can feel like the saltiness of the sweat,
Hmm.
but
but
it's not
in the
only that.
background you can also feel like
People
there
kiss
too.
because they're testing each other out, like to see if they're healthy.
Hmm.
Like if you feel like you're compatible and healthy with someone when you kiss them, then you want to do more. But kissing is generally the first thing that's done because your body is tasting their health to see if there's something more you want to do with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's an actual biological thing. You can look it up. It's interesting.
I, like, do tell more on that. That is, I've never heard that before. Like, how does it sense? Like, how does it sense it? Like,
I think certain people with certain like conditions might let off particular chemicals that might make you feel unattracted to them. Um, I know like diabetics can sometimes have like acidy breath, which might be a turnoff for a particular like you know. I guess it depends on the person again as well, but you're basically testing the health. Like if you kiss someone that tastes like infection and decay, you're probably not gonna want to pursue that person. Simply because like when you are attracted to someone, you're looking at them from biologically a reproductive standpoint. Even if you have no intention of reproduction, it still affects how your body responds to their body. But I don't remember the
You
details
know,
of the
sick
study, but it
people,
is
we're
interesting.
talking about a purely like instinct. No offense to sick people, we're talking about a purely instinctual feeling,
Biological. It's
like
just
stemmed
biological. Like
from
studies. You can,
animal nature.
yeah, for sure.
what did you say before that, Peabot?
No, I said that I don't recall all the details of the studies, but there have been definite studies that support this evidence about attraction and that you kiss someone to check their health before you kind of move forward.
Never really.
It's your body knows. I don't know. I don't know how my body, but I think it has to do with pheromones, attraction, and checking out your MHC and compatibility to see
Yeah,
if you would have like a good time together.
I have to check that out. That is definitely really interesting. Man, brings brings a whole new world to like to kissing, right?
Yeah, yeah. The
But
kissing is super important.
oh,
Kissing is very
it definitely is. So yeah, so speaking of like kissing, like importance, right? Like, th- I feel like kissing is very important too. But some people like to just go straight into it. Do you find that as like a turnoff to where you don't have like intimate like kissing involved.
Is because if someone is skipping the kissing and wanting to get right to the sex, it's not intimate. I feel like kissing makes it more intimate. So if someone is not wanting to kiss me, then I feel like I'm kind of being used as like a flesh receptacle and not really as a human being.
Yeah, it's the same. Like it's such a even if there's no romantic feelings involved, the kissing
It's more,
is
it's actually more
an
intimate
intimate thing. Yeah,
than to fuck. Sometimes I feel like that is very true.
yeah, yeah,
So be a good
exactly.
kisser is what you're telling guys, right?
Well, if you're
I mean,
kissing,
like
you'll get further.
I mean, to be honest, I've had one or two guys who weren't good kissers in the beginning, but I've met them like multiple times, and going on, they like I was trying to maybe slow down or show them when they weren't doing something particularly good. They learned, they got better. As with everything in life, if there's the will to learn and get better, it's always the best.
They have to have,
You don't need to start, like nobody's perfect from the get go.
but some men really take offense when you tell them, "Hey, can you do that a little bit differently?" They do get offended, and then that just
Toxic masculinity.
yeah.
Is that a big no-no for you? You just like disengage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if someone isn't willing to listen, then there's no reason to continue.
Yeah. Just because you have like an alpha or dom personality, right? It's not gonna work.
Like
Yeah.
the best doms are the ones that say that in truth, the ones with the power are the subs.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, the subs are the ones usually that if there's something wrong, they'll say the safe word and everything will stop. They're the one that are relinquishing the power and giving it to the dom, but they
They're the
can take it back at any time with the safe word. So the ones that are truly in power are the subs. And if a dom says this is not true, they're a fake dom.
So how important is oral versus like just going straight into it?
oral sex or
Yeah.
kissing and foreplay.
Yeah, like kissing for playing stuff like that.
I mean, I want to orgasm, and I can't orgasm through penetration, so I need some kind of stimulation. They can be manual or oral, but definitely kissing is a necessity.
Even like without thinking about orgasm, I want to be able to not feel pain. Like preparation, warm the oven before putting in the dough.
Yeah.
If the lady is not ready down there, it's not gonna be pleasant. You need foreplay. I mean, in some cases, you just like in mine, you just need 2 minutes of kissing. But in most cases, you need some foreplay to get ready and for it to be a decent experience.
To amend that, say it's on the stage of the relationship you're in as well. Because if you're first getting to know someone sexually, I think that it's important the foreplay and like making the orgasm and all of that. But let's say you've already had sex, you're kind of established, and you have like 5 minutes, and you're like, man, I really just want a quickie. Like, you can just pull my pants down and like go to town. You know what I mean? But that's already after shit's been established. So it's a little bit different. Like if I met a guy the first time and he's pulling my pants down and we're going to town, like that's not really okay. But if it's like, hey, we have 5 minutes. Can you come in 5 minutes? All right, let's do this. And like, then you
Yeah,
can
it's
be ready to
accepted.
go right away. Yeah, it depends. But yeah, initially very important for, as Mozzy said, to preheat the oven.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
To be honest, even like with an established relationship and like you only have 5 minutes and you want to do a quickie, to be honest, if I had to choose, I would prefer some foreplay instead of just penetration straight ahead. Maybe it's because of my past.
What was that,
Sorry?
Pebot?
Kiss for 2 minutes and then you can have sex for three, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, depends on how good they are. Depends on how good they are finding the right spots and making me come.
Like I said, it varies. It varies significantly, but
So, are you too exclusively into Asian men, or is it just like a preference?
for me, it's just a preference.
For me, it's a very strong preference, but I guess it's a strong like like physical preference. Like while I'm only looking for friends with benefits and hookups, I'll go more for the physical attraction. When I'll feel ready to look for a romantic relationship, I'll forego the preference and open up the game set. But while I'm only looking for sexual interactions, I'll base my choices on a physical attraction first.
Thinking about it on a bigger scale too is instead of exclusive is if people from an outside perspective are looking at AMWF, doesn't necessarily mean that you're just being super exclusive. I also feel that it is also like a preference.
Yeah, you judge every person on an individual basis.
Just because you are into AMWF doesn't mean it's just like the end all be all.
I mean, it's like the stupid argument that many people do to bisexual people. Oh, you're bisexual. You're in a relationship with the same gender person. Oh, now you're gay. You're not bisexual anymore. No, I'm still bisexual. Just right now, I'm in a relationship with someone of the same sex, but I'm still bisexual. It's the same thing. Right now, like I have this preference, I'm in a relationship with a person of this race, but I'm still like open up to other things if they come around. Like,
This is a little off topic of the what we just talked about, but what do you think is a really good opener or that you find like attractive when an Asian male first approaches you? What would you like to see from an Asian male?
So that's kind of hard to say. Like, I don't drink, and I'm generally well versed in a lot of things, and I think a man who isn't intimidated just enough to approach me is already a. It's already given him a plus in my book. You know, I mean, he just has to talk about like I don't know, whatever is on the mind at the time. I mean, you can make a conversation about anything. You just have to be able to say something initially.
yeah. I mean, in person, yeah, haven't never been approached by a guy in person, but even if, like, just the fact that they're approaching me, it's already, yeah, yes. But online, to be honest, it's more complicated. Like, I have more of a stricter because since like the pool is so larger, like I have a very detailed profile bio in many apps. So like if they open up, like they DM me showing that like referencing something from my bio, so showing that they took the time to read through at least some of it, it show that they're putting effort into the conversation versus just hi, how are you? That's just a bit dry. But in person, hi, the weather's nice would be already a big thing for me, to be honest.
About in person, but internet basically like they might message you because you post a lewd and they think you're hot and you have nothing in common with them. Conversation dies pretty quick because you can't just talk about sex. So online, basically, it would be like, can you hold a conversation? Can you keep up with my train of thought? Like, can we have a stimulating conversation that lasts longer than just sexual themes? Like, those are basically the things that I look for online. Like, if this conversation dies after 2 weeks, then you don't have enough in common with them. I mean, there's so many things that you can discuss. If you can keep
Yeah.
conversation going, then you know that you have more than just a hey, you look nice kind of connection. But then you have to meet them in person to see if you actually have a real biologically physical connection.
Yeah, those that like, yeah, okay, we can talk about like just because I am open to talking about sexual stuff. If we just talk about it, it just becomes boring after a while. Like one of my longest time friends, online friend. I'm sorry?
But you might masturbate with them like a couple times and then that's it. You're like, all right,
Yeah.
that's about
Like
all I want.
one of my longest time online friendships. I just like it's 5 years going. We haven't met in person yet, but we're still keeping in touch 5 years. And I just recently found out that he's big into Marvel, and that rekindled my attraction for him so hard because we can talk and joke about Marvel, and actually he also reads the comics, which I don't, so he can give me insights about the comics. And then in turn, I know some things about the comics because I watch some explanatory videos sometimes. So when he finds out that I did know this thing about the comics, it was like, oh, like it's like the most random thing, but it's not like, yeah, we still talk about sex from time to time, but it's not just that. Otherwise, how would we have been able to go on for 5 years?
Right.
You can't sustain on just sex. You need something more than that.
I like to bring this into more of like broader subject. Do you feel that it's not only just like Asian males, but it could be any type of males that, especially like online, that you would be dealing with this type of situation to where, oh, just because you like to talk something sexual or lewd, they might think, oh, I can just hit you up in the DMs and just talk about sexual stuff.
I think it's any type in general can do that. I mean, I was on some pen pal sites when I was language learning a bit ago, and I put on there like, I'm not looking for a relationship or whatever, but you still get males of every race and culture sending you messages about dating, and it's like, hello, did you even read like anything that I wrote? Like, I'm here for language learning. I'm not here to get you off.
And while it is like online, there's some limits to that.
In my experience, I noticed usually the ones from the mainland are more like overwhelmed by the fact that I'm so open about speaking about certain topics, so they go overboard and end up looking like dicks versus someone who maybe is more used to the Western mindset. So, like, they're more used to girls being open about certain topics. I even found, like, I remember there was a guy who actually wasn't used to speaking about these things, but it was like, yeah, there are some things that I don't know. Can you teach me? Like, can you explain to me? I don't understand these topics. I don't understand this concept. Or we like certain topics would just pop up, and he would show and say that he wasn't very knowledgeable about those, and I would just end up teaching about him to him about those things. That's fine, but if you're just like, whoa, she speaks so freely about these things, that means all Western girls are sluts. I'm just gonna go for it. No, like that's literally how they speak to me certain things. Oh, I've heard that European girls are very open, and then they just start talking about sex in a very rude way. And that's not how you do it.
Want to ask about is like food, right? As you know, because some culture like food culture can be very different. Has there been like ever a problem when food has been an issue?
For me, no. If it tastes good, I eat anything. I love food. Food is life. Food and sex are number one. Number one. I love them all. Okay, like for real. If it's good food, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's like still moving, that's like my limitation there. If it's still moving, I don't have to eat that.
So no samakji.
I'll pretty much eat anything.
No, funny enough, I'm actually like down to try more weird things like sanakjils, and that's barely still alive octopus. I'd be down to try that. My only issues is spiciness. I'm like the basic white. Like even in Italy, I was born and grew up in the area with the mildest food. So I cannot stand, like, even pepper is too much for me. So other than that limitation, though, I'm down to try stuff before saying I like it, I don't like it. And I also do respect other cultures' food, in the sense that the usual like topics about eating certain animals or certain things that are not common in the West. I don't judge, and I do respect them because I understand that it's a different culture. Just like Indians don't eat beef. I was very surprised when I heard that it's not a very common to eat horse meat in America. There's literally a meat shop in my town, very close to my house, that is like is specifies like they specialized in horse meat, so they sell various kinds of products made with horse meat. Um, Even the whole dog, eating dog things. It's an animal like another. Just because we keep it more as a companion, it's just another animal, and some cultures consume it. My grandma ate a cat during the war. It's just a different culture. Even like if you base it on religion, like, I don't want to diss and I don't want to disrespect Muslim culture, but let's face it, one of the reasons they don't eat pork, it's because those are cultures that were born in desertic areas. So eating pork, eating a very fatty meat, is a very counterproductive thing to do. So of course they're not going to eat pork.
Yeah.
It's culture. I respect those as long as they're not like doing extremely harmful, like if anything, I don't support like the mass production of meat here. I'm not vegetarian, I'm not vegan, I do love meat, but I would like for the industry to be less heavy on the production and more humane in their treatment of the animals.
Yeah.
That's what tickles me off. But other than that, I'll try anything as long as it's not spicy. But that's just because I cannot stand spicy, and it's like physically painful for me.
Now, what if you encounter a particular Asian male that when you start like dating or getting to know each other, they don't like the type of food that you like? Do you continue? Let's say you really like this person, but food is something that they don't like what you eat.
Like,
If everything else was perfect about them, it's something that you could overlook. I did date a vegan for 3 years, and that was hard because I couldn't share food with them, and food is super important to me. So if they had any other issues among anything else, I'd probably just cut my losses and go. But if they were basically everything else I wanted except for like dietary differences, then I feel like that's something that I could look past.
yeah, as long as as they're not forcing their preferences and their limitations on me, I'm fine.
Yes, yes.
Like I even can like don't know if I'm dating something who has like his glucose in um gluten intolerant, or is a vegan, or cannot eat certain type things, and it's such a harsh preference that they don't want to contaminate even the pots and the pans. I'm even down to have different, like, separate kitchen tools, as long as they're not forcing me to like change my preferences, then I'm okay. It just means more for me. I don't have to share.
Now, what if that happens when you meet their family? They don't like the food that you eat. I don't know if you ever experienced that, but let's say if you haven't, what would you do if that did happen to you? If that makes sense.
If the like the food that you eat,
Correct. You're introduced to their family or like their parents. They don't like the food that you eat.
then it doesn't really matter to me because I'm not marrying or being with their family. As long as their family can respect me, that's the only thing I care about.
Teach me some recipes that you like if we're, I don't know, having a big meal together and you want me to cook something that you like. Teach me a recipe that you like and I'll make it for you. Just don't force me to eat stuff that I don't like, especially in my case, because my reaction to stuff that I don't like is a very heavy gag reflex. So I'll literally gag in front of you the whole time if you're forcing me to eat something that I don't like. Especially like, no, take out the especially in general. If I don't like something, I'll often gag. So you don't like what I eat? Teach me a recipe and I'll cook it for you. But let me eat what I want. I'll even like respect as long as they also respect like the food of my culture. Like,
Mm-hmm.
please don't eat pizza with pineapple in front of me.
Pineapple.
And I won't eat a rice with soy sauce in front of you. Like, let's respect each other culture and food and we'll be fine, because I'm perfectly aware that, like, for example, sushi, the sushi that we eat in the restaurants here, it is not the sushi that you eat in Japan. The sushi that we eat here is tailored to the Western palate. The most popular ones are the rolls with a lot of like avocado or cream cheese or sauces and stuff, and deep fried stuff. The most popular kind of sushi in Japan is either sashimi, so just the raw fish, or nigiri, so just the rice and the fish, because they give importance to the taste and the quality of the fish. They don't care about the fancy schmancy sauces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can respect that. I can respect that. Don't eat pizza with pineapple in front of me, please.
No. But, all right. I think we like covered all the topics. I do have one random question. I told him that I would put this in here. What's your favorite dinosaur and why?
That's kind of difficult. There's so many dinosaurs.
Yeah, there are.
Recently when I was just at one of the museums, there was a what was it called? It was like a Nanooksaurus. It was like a mini T-Rex.
Ooh,
And I was like,
that's
this is a
cool.
pretty freaking cool dinosaur. It's like a third the size of like a T-Rex, but it was like still like a mini Tyrannosaurus. So since I just learned about that dinosaur and I thought it was pretty cool because I have that little polar bear that I take around with me everywhere when I travel.
Yeah.
And someone on our server called it Nanook-chan, and I was like, "Oh, that's adorable." And then I saw the Nanooksaurus, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's like my spirit dinosaur."
It was meant
So
to
I'm
be.
gonna say the Nanooksaurus for right now.
So it has like tiny arms as well.
Yeah, it's like just a miniature scaled down version of a T-Rex.
That is pretty cool.
I thought so too. I
All
think
right.
it lived in the polar climates, and that's why it was called the polar bear
Oh,
T-Rex.
interesting. Polar bear
Yeah.
too.
I think I've heard of that.
I need to check that
I
out.
watch a lot of documentaries about prehistoric life. I love them.
Cool.
I love documentaries about evolution and stuff like that. But I tend to not remember the names, except like I don't like the dinosaur in particular. I find it terrifying, but I do like the name Quetzalcoatlus. It's a flying dinosaur, like kind of like a pterodactyl but different. It's named after an Aztec god, Quetzalcoatl, and sorry if I mispronounced it. And it's terrifying. It's huge. Like it could eat 8 baby dinosaurs. Like
Oh
just
no, Pebot,
recently
run,
hatched.
run.
It's goddamn terrifying. It was
Or
huge,
my or
and
might to win in a fight. I'm just saying.
Wait, what'd you say? Say that again, Pebot?
The mine is a carnivore, so it might be able to fight back. You know, they got claws.
I mean, let me just look up how goddamn big that was because it's terrifying. And given how big it was and the fact that it could fly, it's estimated that it could travel hugely long distances. Was one of the first life forms that could travel such long distances. I gotta look how big it was. Hold on. Don't even remember how it's written.
Yeah, I used dinosaurs, but I don't remember the names or much of them. But I used to know all of the names.
All the
Like
names?
the wings,
Yeah,
the estimated wingspan is between 10 and 11 meters. I don't know how much that is in feet. 10, 11 meters. Hold on. And they were like the pictures. I don't hold on. Like even the look because they walked on their hind legs and their their folded wings. Like I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, that's
It's
huge.
terrifying, but I do enjoy the name Quetzalcoatl. I don't know. I just like the name. I
That's,
like saying it,
that's a pretty dope
but I
name.
find it terrifying, and I'm pretty happy that it doesn't exist today.
All right,
It
well,
could probably it could probably eat a human child.
you should probably eat
Like
human
looking at
child.
the size.
Well, yeah, I think that's all we got for today. Yeah, thank you very much for joining very first episode. Thanks for joining in on my first podcast.
no
Thank
problem.
you.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Rising Moon will continue to bring more AMWF content, and I hope that you enjoy them.